The Heritage Museum of St Albert brings honor to former residents who participated in and contributed on the home front during World War I. 1 in 10 residents fought.
Some people joined up because it was actually employment. And then we also had the largest cadet movement in the country, so a lot of people came from that. And also being a fairly young province, we had a lot of young, adventurous men who were willing to join the Army and go overseas.
So until November, Musi Heritage hosts a series of temporary displays of rare World War I artifacts, pictures, and posters.
A lot of these pieces are in our archives. Families have been coming in since the exhibit went up, and they bring in their family pictures and share them with us. Uncles, grandfathers, great-uncles. So they share their stories and their pictures, and that becomes part of our archives here at the museum.
A lot of the pieces are hard to find because they're already 100 years old. So we have things from the Royal Alberta Museum, the Loyal Edmonton Regiment Museum, as well as private collector Alan Kerr, and things from our own museum and archives.
Examples, we have uniforms, not only of a man who would have been in the World War I, but also of one of the nurses, because one of the women from our community back in 1914 actually volunteered and was in the war as well.
There are also plaques and pictures commemorating those who served, some for European armies.
St Albert, of course, had a large Francophone community, so there were a number of people that immediately went back to join the French Army, Belgian, Swiss. They're actually in the local Francophone newspapers were advertisements essentially put out ordering French nationals to return to France immediately to serve.
Rare World War I posters are on loan from the Alan Kerr collection.
Posters that would have been up to encourage people to buy victory bonds. Or there's one here that I find very interesting that is about buying bonds so that we can give the money to England so that they can buy back our Canadian Alberta grain for the war effort.
An exhibition remembering Brigadier General Raymond Brutinel begins September 9th.
Raymond Brutinel came from France to Alberta and settled. He became one of the editors of the first Francophone newspaper here, the Courrier de l'Ouest. With his own money, created the Motor Machine Gun Brigade, which was basically, he suggested that moving the machine guns around would be really helpful strategically. So he created vehicles that could armored vehicles that could move the machine guns and became a brigadier general in the Canadian Forces.
100 years ago, World War I began in Europe and drew soldiers from everywhere, including from Alberta's first non-fortified settlement.
It was neighbors helping neighbors, and then the emotional support. We lost a lot of boys. One family lost 2 sons, and then had to send a third over, and their daughter was also serving. That was the Kennedys. We lost 10 out of the 63 or so. We did actually, after the war, though, have a big influx of new settlers.
The Musi Heritage remembers St Albert's place in World War I. For Go Edmonton, I'm Tim Dancy.